Okay, finally, the third part of my videos for today. So I had some technological problems, but I finally get to my computer froze in. I had to also clear some stuff in the settings, and hopefully it's not gonna freeze in now. So, and then before it freezes in, while I'm making a video, the video goes into slow motion. So, and I have no idea why, whether my computer had been hacked into, or if it's just if the computer's getting old or whatever. That eludes my legislation, but I do what I can to fix it. But anyway, what I wanted to say is I want to talk about Jiddu Krishnamurti and David Bohm's conversations, where they were talking about the origins of and the reasons for people to be in such resistance to seeing the truth and to be honest with themselves and to dive into their own minds in meditation and accept whatever there is, and accept also emotional pain or whatever has occurred in the past, and accept the emotions that come with it, and feel it, So there's a tremendous resistance in people to get into this. And he was trying to find out what it is, So why are people so afraid? And so David Shainberg, psychiatrist, he was in the conversation several times, many times, and he would always bring his perspective from psychiatry into it and say that people are in so much pain, emotional pain. That's why they don't want to go into it. They're just absolutely terrified of more pain going towards that what is underneath. The actual hurt would mean, would at least appears as creating more pain. They're already in so much pain, so they're trying to run away from it with all these different things, with drugs, with religion, with just docking onto a guru, like accepting a new parent, basically. This is my guru, my new parent, or something. And then in this process, they're no longer children, they are adults. As adults, we have a responsibility to make the world safe for all beings, okay? So when they're doing this, they're not taking responsibility, they're running away. And David Shainberg said, yeah, but they can, observing his clients, he sees in which pain they are and how tremendously difficult it is for them, people from all walks of life. And Jiddu Krishnamurti said, yeah, but why? But why not go into it all the way? But they can't, because they're in so much pain, And that's also what I wanted to say is, like, they're we, myself included, we're in so much emotional pain. We're so afraid of this excruciating pain, and to dive into it and go through it and let it churn through your entire body. We're so afraid of it, and particularly when we don't know anything about the possibility of actually allowing it to bore its way up like a corkscrew and come into our consciousness. Before I had that information from Annalise and Dr. Arthur Janov, of this possibility of allowing the pain to come up into consciousness, I was just like everyone else who is aimlessly running through life and just trying to escape from the pain with any means they can find, without thinking of the consequences, the implications of what drugs or religion or any of these escape mechanisms will do down the line to a person's lifetime. So when we don't know, what the dangers are of this, we're just like a reactive mechanism that is blindly trying to escape from the pain, not realizing that feeling the pain in its fullest and listening to it and actually hearing it out. What does it want to tell us? It has a message for us that wants to come through with it. But we're blocking it away. We're running away from it because this pain is perceived by us as a threat, by the ego as well, So is there a way to bypass being the observed as we are observing? That is the question. That was the question also by Pupul Jayakar, who was a great thinker from India. And she was involved in many conversations with Jiddu Krishnamurti, an amazing woman, great mind, who was really honestly trying to dive into this matter and the problematic of humans running away from pain. So her question is there some space somewhere that we can create where we can escape our own shadow, basically, where we can escape our own situation of being the observed, of being the object of our own observation, where we observe ourselves, but where the process of observing ourselves is no longer colored by being that observed subject. I don't know if this is understandable, what I'm saying. So as we observe, we are in this very process of observing. We can't take our mind out of it. That's what they've been trying to talk about. That's what they've been trying to wrap their heads around. Is there a way? Jiddu Krishnamurti talked about this for over 60 years with many different great thinkers. Is there a way to... He was able to do it because he was the embodiment of the infinite cosmos. There was no ego, there was no self involved. The moment there is the ego, the self that's involved, we seem to not be able to take the me out of the equation. So in this process of running away, people get, they're constantly afraid because the ego is afraid, because the observer is at the same time the observed. You can't We can't take the observer out of it. We can't take the observed out of it, out of the equation. I can't jump over my own shadow. I can't can't take my neurosis out of that moment of observing myself. I hope that makes sense. So as I am analyzing and observing and trying to understand my own mind, how it works, my own ego, the self-escape mechanisms, the endless loops and routes of escaping from actually diving into that pain. I feel like I'm getting a lot closer now, over the years, a lot closer. And I can just imagine how difficult it must be for someone who is not searching for this inwardness process, and someone who can't understand the inwardness process and the importance of that type of meditation. There's all kinds of meditations out there. Even the inwardness type of meditations like samadhi or vipassana are not understood by most people, because the observer is the observed. We can't take the pathology of the self out of that equation while they're trying to heal the pathology. So they're trying to heal the pathology with pathology. That's basically what they have been discussing for over 60 years. So in meditation, what we're trying to do is, we're not trying to take the pathology out of it, because then we're in a state of resistance. It's what Adyashanti is talking about. The moment you're resisting your resistance, you're back in that same loop. The pathology, okay, is just part of this entire thing. We have been hurt, okay, and there's the abyss, and that's scary, and people want to loop out of it with numerous ways, with drugs, with religion, with lies, with deception, with delusions, with all kinds of things, with all kinds of pathological mechanisms, just not to see the truth, just to get away from the truth. And with truth, with all the goodness of truth, there is also the pain attached to it. That's part of that whole thing. Okay. Can't take that out. You can't take the yang out of the yin. Yin and yang. Life is this process of going through this. We cannot escape. We cannot escape from the truth. Whatever that is, whatever that painful thing is for you or for me. For me, it has a lot of jealousy. Where does the jealousy come from? There's a chain of causality. People try to numb it up, numb it down, numb it away. It's not going away. It just kicks back with a vengeance. So the only path we have is the path into the meditation and feeling it, letting the body feel it. That's the only path we have. And then you are free from drugs and all of these bondages that happen during a lifetime, that offer themselves as an escape route. But they're not escape routes. They're just pathways to destruction. Okay, so I have to turn it off.